Hey, I'm James from Smoking Dad Barbecue, and today we're making pulled beef sandwiches. And if you've never had one, these are some of the best sandwiches you'll ever have. The quick overview of the process is we're going to smoke a chuck roast for a couple hours till we have a bark set. Then we're going to throw it in a Dutch oven right on the X-ring accessory over the fire and braise it in a red wine and veggie melody. I'll show you everything you need to know for a couple hours till it's tender. We're going to shred it, pull it apart, throw it on some sandwiches, and melt on some provolone cheese on top. These are amazing. You're not going to want to miss it. Let's get started. All right, I'm going to walk you through just real quick a setup that I like for this type of cook where you want to get smoke for hours, even at a higher temperature, and not run out of smoking wood. So I like to get these smoking logs. These ones happen to be from Furtado Farms. And the reason why you want to get an actual piece of smoking wood versus just any store-bought lumber is you want to make sure there's been no chemicals or pesticides on it, so it's safe for food. So we're going to throw that in place of the charcoal basket divider. I'm going to use the log for the divider, and we're going to bank all of our coals to the back. And those coals will get hot and burn this wood, and it'll keep smoking for hours. So let's go ahead and build our fire. All right, our Kamado Joes come up to temperature, so now I'm going to install our half moon, the X-ring accessory, season up our beef. I just came back from the grocery store this morning with this. Normally I would dry brine it overnight, so I just threw on some kosher salt. As soon as I got home, give that a second to start doing some of its magic, and then we're going to throw on some fogo rub for flavor. So let's build our setup. We don't need our second grid right now, but I'll just leave it in the grill. And so what we've got going on here is we've got our fire in the back with about a half basket. We've got our log as the divider. Bring you a little closer so you can see. And so then I'm putting this plate here to try and direct the heat around and up so that we get some convection action happening on our little chuck roast for a few hours. So let's go ahead and season it. Alright, so that looks good to me, so we're going to close everything up. We're going to try and hold this between 275 300 degrees for 2-3 hours, and then we'll be ready to install our Dutch oven and continue the process. Alright, it's just been about 2.5 hours and we're getting ready to transfer our chuck roast into a Dutch oven. Let me show you what it looks like. There we are. I've been spraying it with a water bottle a couple times throughout the cook, but we're waiting for that bark to pass the scratch test. You ever heard of the scratch test? Essentially means I can scratch the outside and I don't get the rub on my fingers. So when I can do that, we now know the bark is set. This has taken some smoke and that bark's going to hold up. And so I filled our Dutch oven here with 1 carton of non-salted beef stock and added a little bit of cooking wine to that, and we're going to leave this covered. So for what we're going to do now, we're going to transfer the beef into the Dutch oven. We're going to pull out the grid and the half stone. I'm going to put the X accessory ring on the lower position, middle or lower position. We'll see how we are for clearance on the coals. And then install the Dutch oven. So I'm going to do this in fast forward. If you have any questions, be sure to let me know in the comments below. Happy to answer them. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and cover this and then just let this simmer. I'm going to let the temperature come up to about 425 degrees. And it's just about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so we're going to try and have this done for 5:30, 6 o'clock. So that's about 3 hours of simmering. That nice flame that we're getting is from that smoking log. Just when I've got the dome open, that's ignited, but it'll go out in a second. So it's really not as hot as that looks, but looks really cool. So anyways, I'll pick you up in a couple hours. All right, guys, we're right about 3 hours now in the Dutch oven. Let's check and see how we're doing for our tenderness. You could put in two quarts of beef stock. And so you definitely submerge more of the beef when you do that, but I like using this as an au jus. So I find 1 quart with some cooking wine helps give us about, well, we've still got about a third, maybe a quarter of an inch to a half inch on the bottom of the pan. So that's enough to braise, but also it's reducing down thin enough and nice all those concentrated flavors that we'll be able to use that as an au jus. So let's poke it. Okay, yeah, look at that. Oh, that's gonna be good. I don't want to poke that too hard, it'll just fall apart. So I'm gonna let this go. We've got our dinner guest coming in about 20 minutes or so, so I'm gonna give this just a few more minutes. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but that is just ready to shred. So give that a few more minutes until they come for dinner, and then we'll tear this apart, throw it on top of our sandwiches, and then melt that provolone cheese right over top. So a few more minutes to go, hang in there. All right, this is the last step. So we've made up the bottom parts of some sandwiches. I'm just gonna melt the cheese. Hey guys, thanks so much for hanging out for today's cook. If you liked what you saw, please hit that like and subscribe button, turn on the bell for notifications. And I'm starting a fan mailbag, so if there's anything you want to see me cook or any questions you have, I'm going to start answering those questions at the end of these videos, basically right now. So let me know in the comments and I'll add it to a future video. Until next time, thanks so much for hanging out. Have a great one.